Here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is a special edition of the Co-Creators Convergence. I have with me here today Michael G. Reccia, and he is a trance medium who has brought through 8 different books, collectively known as the Joseph Communications. Now, some of you have probably heard me rave about these books before, because when I was gifted the first one, I wasn't satisfied until I had all 8, because just the information is so timely for us. And so I called my dear friend Michael in the UK, he lives somewhere near Manchester, for those of you that are familiar, and asked him, he's doing something very special, starting, right now for the coronavirus, a meditation he's going to tell us about. But first, he's going to give us a brief history of the Joseph Communications, why this message is urgent, and what we can do, whether we're locked down, quarantined, wherever. So, Michael, I'm going to pass the golden encrusted silver microphone to you and let you go.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you. Yes, Joseph is a discarnate spirit, an ancient discarnate spirit who is part of a soul group that is deeply concerned for the future of mankind. I began to bring him through in 2006. And since then, as you say, he has transmitted 8 volumes, and we don't take any money from the volumes. That's an important point. We're not doing this for money. We do this because this information is important to the world. In other words, the generated monies from the books are put back into printing more books and making the information available across the globe. There have been a number of themes with the Joseph Communications over the years, one of which is that we are running out of time unless we change things, and that the collective field of human consciousness that we contribute to, each of us daily, is running out of energy. Not only that, but it's set to negative. And you can see that it's set to negative in the way that we treat every aspect of our lives here. What Joseph suggests is that we reach into the heart center, the heart mind that we have here in our chests, and at the core of the heart mind we will find light energy, divine light energy, which we can send out, we can channel and direct into the world. And because that energy is not coming from the field of human consciousness, it's coming from the divine, from the greater consciousness, we can recharge the flat battery of the world. We can surround people with the light so that of their own volition, because they have been given sufficient illumination, they can examine the way that they are approaching each other and are approaching the world. And if they want to make changes based on the energy of that illumination, they can make those changes. So the light that Joseph is suggesting we send is unconditional. It's not light that has a proviso. It's not light that says you have to behave this way to receive this light. It is light simply to illuminate the dark corners, to chase away the shadows in our world, and to reveal the spiritual core of each of us, and to bring into the world that spiritual aspect, that spiritual focus that is missing in almost everything we do. And everything we do seems to make things worse here. And the reason it makes things worse here is because we don't have that spiritual aspect built into it, that spiritual focus. We don't acknowledge who we really are, why we're here. If we get back to that and we channel the light that we have inside of us, then things can change.
You brought up a really good questions there, Michael. Who we are and why we're here. Would you delve into that a little bit more?
Yes. Yeah, big question. There's a big answer. I don't think we've got the time, but basically, we are angelic beings. I mean, I've seen angels during my work as a medium, and it's always an amazing experience. You see these larger-than-life human figures surrounded with light, giving out light, and there is a very intense vibration to their voice and their emotions and their purpose for talking to us. And we have in mythology and in stories separated ourselves from angels. What Joseph says is, we're all angels. those angels that I contact are what we really are inside, but we've forgotten that. And the angels that contact us are from beyond this sphere that we have encapsulated with our own negative thoughts. So we are angelic beings. We are spiritual beings. We are part of the divine. We are the divine. Everything is one. Everything is the same thing. And so if we don't acknowledge that, we are fighting ourselves, and we're putting the wrong energy into what we do. So Joseph recommends that we investigate who we are and why we're here. And why we're here is to experience. Why we're here is to grow in vibration and to grow closer to each other and to take back to the angelic host and to take back to the Godhead our experiences here, to enhance the angelic host and to enhance ultimately the Godhead, to progress the Godhead. That's what we are. We are glorious beings of light. And we are glorious beings of light that have encapsulated ourselves in this small view of what we are, due to an event that happened millennia ago that Joseph calls the fall. And that's not the biblical fall. That is rather an experiment that we, as a portion of the angelic host, decided that we would carry out against the best advice from the rest of the host, and we got things wrong. And as a result, we trapped ourselves into a view of society, a view of the world that is skewed, that is dark. And that is why there is so much negativity. That's why there's so much violence. That's why we can't seem to find lasting peace, because we've gone against ourselves. And we need to liberate ourselves from that choice that we made so long ago. And the way to liberate ourselves is to once again recognize who we are, and to then bring light back into the world, literally back into the world, into ourselves, and then we uplift ourselves, we regain our spiritual heritage consciously, and everything changes.
Awesome, Michael. Thank you. Would you talk a little bit about Joseph as a soul group? Because I don't want anyone to come away from the misconception that Joseph is someone that lived here and now is on the other side and is saying, yoo-hoo, you gotta change things down there. So just a little bit about the Joseph and all the messages that are coming through.
Yes, Joseph's lived many times here. He's lived as a man, he's lived as a woman, and he is part of a soul group. Perhaps I'd better explain that term. As we progress through the spiritual cleansing spheres that exist beyond the earth, and we raise our vibrations back to that angelic knowledge of who we really are, we cluster together in intent. We are still individuals and we still have our own individual identity and our own individual aims, but our greater aims naturally pull us towards souls who are like us. And so we cluster together in soul groups as a huge family of spirits to undertake certain projects that we feel are worthwhile and important to us. Now, Joseph and his soul group could have moved on into higher spheres, but they haven't. They care so much about the earth and our predicament here that they have elected to stay behind, as it were, until we sort ourselves out, until we bring through that light, until we bring through that spiritual knowledge that changes things. And so their intent as a group is to bring through the knowledge that we need at this time to make things right, to put things right, to change our perspective. And I must emphasize that all this is done, this information is brought through in the name of free will. In other words, we can look at this information, we can accept it, we can reject it. It's entirely up to us. But if we reject it, there will be a great deal of sadness and weeping and gnashing of teeth on that side, because this information that has been given to us before, and Joseph has delivered it to civilizations twice before,
Wow.
And we have put an end to things twice before. This information is exactly what we need to reclaim our spiritual capabilities and to make sense of this world, and why nothing currently does make sense in this world.
Well, that's a big undertaking, and I feel so much gratitude and connection to their mission. And I know that Joseph has, some I can, some people are going to be new to this information, Michael, and they may say, "Yeah, that sounds great. Send light, send light." You mean you want me to meditate? I mean, exactly. You know, how do I know if I'm doing it right? What exactly do I need to do? So, could you maybe talk to that a little bit?
Yeah. First of all, you need to go into the silence. It's important that we shut out the clamor and the noise of this world, so that we can concentrate on, focus on, and connect to the God within us. The second thing that Joseph advises us to do is to move our consciousness for the time of our meditation down from our head center here, the calculator in our heads, down to our heart mind, our heart center. You might think, how can you do that? Well, you can imagine once you've become quiet and once you've dropped from your consciousness for a time, the worries that we all have day to day, once you put those to one side and become peaceful, you can imagine that there is a ball of light here, which represents your head mind consciousness, and that you slowly move that ball of light down in your imagination, down past your throat center, and so that it resides outside your heart. And then you can imagine that that light goes into your heart, and you will feel a change of energy. You'll feel a peace, you'll feel energized. And at that point, you can then send out the light. With each in-breath, you can imagine that your heart and your heart center, your heart mind, are filling with light. With each out-breath, you can direct that light to wherever you want to in the world. You can surround your friends and loved ones with it. You can send it into countries across the globe. You can send it to the animal kingdom. You can send it to the world itself. And you can visualize it as a beam of white light coming out from your heart and directing itself perhaps to an image of the globe, as an example, that you can put in your imagination in front of you and turn so that you can fill the various countries, and then fill your imagination with images of those areas that you want the light to go to. For example, people suffering at this time, or you can surround politicians, heads of government with the light, so that there's a wish with that light that they make decisions from now on based on spiritual principles rather than material ones. You can send it to the animal kingdom. You can send it to the world and see the world regenerating, its beauty coming back, its peace coming back, the damage that we've done to it being undone. And then at the end of your meditation, you close off those images. You feel yourself, your consciousness retreating out from your heart center. Move that ball of light back up your body and see it reside once again in your head mind, in your head center. And this is important. Once you've done this, as you come out of this meditation, it's important to close down the principal energy centers that we all have
Right.
as spirits. Because they will have naturally opened, because you are giving, because you want to give, because you're sending out light and love. And so you close down the energy centers at the top of the head, at the brow, at the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the spleen, and the base of the spine. And if you don't know how to do that, then ask the God within that you've just been contacting, that you've just been connected to do that for you. And you'll know when they're shut, because you'll feel yourself come back to this level of consciousness and to your everyday perception of life.
Excellent. A really good explanation there. And now I'm glad you mentioned about closing the chakras, because I remember my first reading of the books, and Joseph talked about closing the chakras and said a lot of healers, after they work with someone, they don't close their chakras. And, I've gotten to the point now, if I'm going out anywhere, I'm going to say, all right, I'm just going to take a few moments here and close my chakras. So, you know, I'm ready to go face the world as it is. And,
They are a protection, and there is many people do say, no, you've got to leave them open. Well, my argument against that, or my suggestion would be, if the mechanism of our chakras is made for spiritually functional to open and close, why? Why can you close them? Why
Mm.
can you open and close them? If they are supposed to be open all the time, that mechanism would not be a bit of being incorporated into them. And when we are open as spiritual beings, we connect with all kinds of thoughts, some positive, some negative. And so we have to be able to protect ourselves. Many of the people watching this will have gone into a crowd situation and thought, I feel terrible. I felt fine a few minutes ago. Now I feel dreadful. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you is that all those thoughts are bombarding you. All those wishes and hopes and dreams are bombarding you. And you have to be able to take care of yourself and protect yourself so that when you are not working spiritually, you can get on with your life without being affected negatively.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, I want to talk about just a little bit here. I know at the beginning of this, I said that you and the Band of Light, maybe you want to explain the Band of Light, are offering something very special during this time of the, we just, I think the impetus was what we're facing right now on our planet with the virus, the economies, people feeling alone. And you're providing a very beautiful antidote. And so I would like you to share that, Michael, and
Oh, thank you.
how our listeners can connect with you more deeply.
Yes, well, first of all, the Band of Light. Now, this is Joseph's term for our little group, the people who are responsible for bringing through and spreading this information. The Band of Light is only 4 members. We have myself, who brought through the information as a trance medium. We have David, who is our IT specialist. We have Tony, who has a beautiful sanctuary of healing that you visited
Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
and is a great supporter of the Band of Light. And we have my life partner, Jane, who transcribes the books and deals day to day with getting the books out to people and answering queries and that type of thing. So we're a small group. It's a vast task and a small group.
Mhm.
But Joseph, throughout all his books, has warned that there is impending disaster, as I said earlier, unless we change. Now, he mentioned at the beginning, about 15 years ago, that we probably have, unless we change, unless we put light into the world, about 70 to 80 years left. But during the time from the first book to now, things have accelerated somewhat. The negativity has become greater.
Mhm.
And he has always said in each of his books that what we need to do is to channel through light and love and change the perception of the world and change the perception of its peoples. Now, because everyone is locked down and everyone has time on their hands, seemed an appropriate time to put that into practice. Also giving light workers and spiritually minded people something to do, something positive to do, because our news media at the moment are putting out bad news, negativity. There is no hope being given. And we want to give not only hope, but purpose to those who are spiritually minded enough and selfless enough to want to send out the light. So to that end, we have organized on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays 4 slots of 15 minutes when people can join together in spirit. They don't have to be led on this. They simply sit and join together wherever they are in the world through a mental connection, through a spiritual connection, and can send out the light unconditionally into the world. And those 4 times, there are UK times, 9 to 9:15 a.m., 1 to 1:15 p.m., 5 to 5:15 p.m., and 9 to 9:15 p.m. And there are the equivalent US times on our websites. People can join with our websites for updates and videos and daily postings. And our websites are thejosephcommunications.co.uk and thejosephcommunications.com. Now, we've had a wonderful response, and you can feel the power and the love and the energy that is generated by joining together and directing that energy into the world. And Joseph has said often, one person sitting for the light is the equivalent of 1,000 people who are stumbling around in the darkness. Because a lot of people contact us and say, what can I do, little me? Well, you're not little you. The spirit you is powerful. The spirit you can transmit, generate so much light. And the spirit you is not alone either at these times, because we link together, not just around the world, but also with Joseph and his soul group. And there are millions of spirits in Joseph's soul group who connect with us during these special times to put light into the world.
Excellent. I'm just going to mention here, you gave the UK times. Right now I'm on the East Coast. So
Yes.
it's a little early for me. Your first time is at 4 a.m. I do join you regularly at 8 a.m. And I'm going to set my little reminder here so I get the noon and the 4 o'clock time. So I give myself a little heads up, and I'm going to be a little more vigilant to make those times as well. So those are the US times. And if you're in the different time zones, then you just figure it out from there. It's wonderful. I just want to mention your Facebook. You're very active on Facebook. You have a daily posting and information. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think if you just search the Joseph Communications, it'll come up.
Yep.
Okay.
And you can join my page if you want to friend me on Michael G. Reccia. There are two pages, the Joseph Communications and Michael G. Reccia. And we feel it's important at this time to connect to all those sending out the light as often as we can. And so we're posting, as you said, Noel, every day. And every day there will either be a text message plus a quote from the books, or a video that can be a reading from the books, or something that has occurred to me as being relevant to the Joseph Communications and to everyone tuning in. We also have a YouTube channel, the Joseph Communications. And we, of course, we've been somewhat hindered by the lockdown over the last couple of weeks, but we do intend to put on Zoom communications in the next couple of weeks to top up what we have there. So there are new perspectives and introductions to the communications and explanations of the various concepts and examinations of the various concepts on that channel.
Wonderful. I just want to add that you might be asking how you can help. Besides joining in the group meditation, which I think is the most powerful, but another way is we want to increase our social media reach. So this is going to be put into a YouTube format. Please share. Join Michael G. Reccia, Reccia. Look for him on Facebook. I didn't know how to pronounce it for a while. I was calling him something else. Also the Joseph Communications Facebook page. Please share and join as you can. And we just have a few more moments here. Michael, I don't know if you want to have any closing comments and for everyone here.
Yes, it's a very important time. It's a pivotal year for us all. And it's not just the virus that we have to look at and address, but there are other aspects of society that are quite disturbing at the moment too. And you might think, well, why are all these things coming at the same time? They're coming at the same time as an opportunity for us to address how we connect to each other, how we connect to the world, and to reevaluate those things. And so it's important at this time that we do send the light out. It's important that we do value each other. And it's important that we do look at the things that aren't important and let them fall away. You know, we don't always need the new car. We don't always need the holiday. We don't always need the new clothes. What we need is to acknowledge what we are and to come from the right place. And we haven't been doing, unfortunately. And we need to change that. And I must also say that the light that we send out, you might say, well, I don't like this person in government, or I don't like that person in a dictatorship. You don't have to like them, you have to love them. And the light is not to coerce them into doing something they don't want to do. the light that you send out that surrounds them illuminates that pilot light in their soul, in their spirit. So that if enough of you do that, and enough of you provide illumination, then from within and from a viewpoint of free will, sooner rather than later, those people who are mistakenly creating a broken society will one day think, ah, you know, I think I've got that wrong. There's a different way to act, and I'm a bit troubled by that, and I'm going to have to listen to that inner voice. And that's what we are not attempting to do, we are doing it. And that's what we need to do, to love everyone, love every situation, love the violent situations, love the peaceful situations, love the situations that work, love the situations that don't work. Love the virus. Now there's a concept. Send love and light to the virus, because we are programming that virus at the moment because of our negativity. There is so much fear and panic that our perception of the virus is doing as much damage as the virus itself. We can reprogram it. We can calm it down. We can put light into it. We can find a spiritual as well as a material solution to this, hand in hand. Spiritual and material, hand in hand, equals harmony, peace, and a change in this world.
I think that sums it up very beautifully, Michael. And I'm going to have to re-listen to this, and I do a little better my sending light to my government. So, but it's a trying time, and the word unconditional is so key to sending the light. And
yes.
I want to thank you, Michael, Jane, Tony, David, and I just want to challenge anyone who's listening to this to just read the first of the 8 books, and you will get a massive download, and will demand the other 7 books. And they're available on the website. They're available in audio form, Kindle, because I know I read a lot of mine on Kindle. So, Michael, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to post this. I'm going to post it with the links. And I wish you adieu.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you so much for your kindness. God bless.
We enjoy it.